5. And for LA, after the sky was falling, after the first 2 games of the season that they lost, they've now won 4 of 5. And again, not to take any shots at the opponent, but this is what the Lakers should have been doing here, because their schedule is incredibly favorable at this stretch before it starts to get tough again later in middle of November. Steve Smith, John Powell, Jared Greenberg with you. Appreciate you joining us. If you just watched the Lakers pick up their 4th win in the last 5 games, we're going to go around the NBA on this 5-game night, show you what the Nets did, what Kevin Durant had to say about his ejection following a flagrant 2 foul called. We'll also tell you about the Bucks and Jazz, really good matchup in Milwaukee tonight. But let's talk more about the Lakers. Big story if you watch the game, or if you're just joining us live here on NBA TV for the first time this season, Smitty, Anthony Davis starting at the 5 spot. What are you reading into that move, and how much more do you think we'll see of that?
I think against the Houston Rockets was the team you want to tinker with your lineup and maybe try this Anthony Davis at the 5. I also saw that Avery Bradley, because of the move, moved him at the point guard position as far as defensively, and then also moved LeBron James basically at the 4. It gave them much more spacing, gave them a lot of guys that could attack, and it gave them some outside, whether you make shots or not, there's some guys that can make plays at the 3-point line. I think a lot of people look at the 3-point line when everybody's parked behind it that you have to shoot a 3. You saw a lot of times when it's kicked out, now guys got to run. You have some guys that can drive and make plays. You got Bradley can dribble, LeBron, then you also have Russell Westbrook and Anthony Davis as the 5. He has the advantage. John?
Carmelo Anthony, 5 of 8 from 3-point range. This is just good news for the Lakers and good news for Carmelo. When he left the Knicks, he sort of bristled when Oklahoma City wanted him to shoot threes, when the Rockets wanted him to shoot threes. He's like, I'm a mid-range shooter. Smitty, his game was along the baseline, just that pull-up, devastating shot from 20 feet. But it seems now that he's so much more comfortable shooting that 3-point shot. And it's really for a Lakers team that traditionally, at least in the last couple of years, they weren't a great 3-point shooting team. So he's bringing that element to the Lakers. He's happy doing it, and he looks pretty good doing it.
And for a team, if you listen to the broadcast that Stu and Bill were talking about it, still a lot of injuries. They got Wayne Ellington back tonight, but still waiting on a few guys. Carmelo Anthony is really being leaned on to be their top primary scorer off the bench.
And, he's answered that bell a lot of times, Jared. I think also to Sean Powell's point, I think you look at Carmelo, we know in New York and Denver, he was first option, massaged the basketball a lot. I think as the years has gone on, he is scoring the basketball off catch and shoots, 1 dribble pull-ups. I think right now he's playing a role of a guy I won't take the possession and it's all about me. That mindset was probably what he was doing when he first got to some other places like Oklahoma and Houston. But right now, since he's been in Portland with the Lakers, there's not a lot of dribbles. There's some catch and shoots and fadeaways. He gives you a bump. I think he's in a rhythm on how to play coming off the bench and play off superstars.
And it's hard for a guy like Carmelo, who for so many years was the first option, and all of a sudden he's got to adjust his mindset. Ego-wise, that's a blow. All of a sudden, you're not getting the touches. You're like the 2nd and 3rd option some nights. But again, I think he sort of took stock of where he is and where he's going. And this way, he can prolong his career. I mean, he's adding more years to his career because he has accepted a different role and he has embraced the 3-point shot and he's worked at it. So it's all winning right now for Carmelo, coming from Portland, going to the Lakers. I think the team he really wanted to play on all along, next to LeBron James, and he has a chance to get that championship.
24 threes over the course of 7 games so far for Carmelo Anthony. And tonight, the big number that may go unnoticed, he had 4 blocked shots in this game, too. So Melo playing some defense.
All right, Melo.
How about that, huh?
All right.
Coming up, we'll hear from Carmelo Anthony after the game, after his impressive showing off the bench, as the LA Lakers are at the 500 mark for the first time this season. They'll see Houston again at home on Tuesday.
At the end of that half, got robbed of that possibility. Russell Westbrook with 12 points on 5 of 10 shooting at 5 assists. LeBron 3 of 7, 6 assists as the Lakers lead by 19. More to come in the Jack in the Box halftime report. In grade school, he wanted to be called Tyrone Johnson, but Carmelo sounds so much better. Doesn't it, Laker fans? Lakers lead by 19. Brought to you by Spectrum Mobile, 54-35, 46% from the Lakers, shooting the long ball really well, 8 of 17. They've also turned the Rockets over 14 times. Good defense, Rob.
Great defense. Think about that. When you take a team seriously, you come out, you play aggressive. They know this young team can get a good spark and start a good downhill battle. So they're playing really good defense, and I like that, man.
All right, welcome back to the Jack in the Box halftime report. Lakers getting it done. Carmelo hot, 4 3-pointers. Russell Westbrook with 12, LeBron with 7. But defensively, big game is where the Lakers have made their mark.
Yeah. Dressed up as Freddy Krueger for his annual Halloween bash. What do we think about that one?
It's pretty good makeup right there.
The details of the makeup, Rob makeup on that is pretty.
Oh, the makeup on that is nice. Me, out of all that, I'm digging the hat.
The hat?
The hat.
What about the hand?
Yeah. Ever since
his younger daughter might not. That might. Nah. She know that's dad. She probably wouldn't be scared, but that might scare his kid. It's
pretty strong.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
The team showed up and showed out last night. We're gonna have it throughout the show. But for more on tonight's game against the Rockets, let's get you live to Staples Center with Mike Trudell, who is standing by. Hey, Mike.
Hey guys, welcome downtown. Happy Halloween to the three of you. So, Allie, it's been like this for a couple of weeks now, where with Frank Vogel, the first thing that we have to figure out is who is going to be available. And so we started with right there with the head coach a couple moments ago.
Wayne is going to be the same. He'll be active, but I do not intend to use him yet. He did have a good practice yesterday, but I think we're going to try to get one more in before we throw him out there. Bron will be a game time decision. Anthony's in. And, Dwight woke up with some neck soreness, and he'll be a game time decision as well. I still have to evaluate him when he gets here.
What stands out on film from Houston from their first few games?
They're super talented. They're young, obviously, but Porter and Green can really. Both those guys can go for 30 on any given night. Christian Wood is really a dynamic player. His ability to shoot the ball from the perimeter and play in rolls and in the pocket and all those things is he's a big time player. And these guys, I think that they're going to have a good season. Everyone talks about them being a rebuilding team, but you got bench guys like DJ Augustine and Eric Gordon. Sengun is giving them good energy off the bench. Tice is a high level role player, and I think they have ability to win some games this year, even though everyone's sort of talking about them as a rebuilding team. So we're gonna have to play well to beat them.
Frank, you were able to put together, I guess, a half or maybe a quarter and a half of the defense you want. How constructive is it for the guys to, when you're not just going, all right, on film, you got to do this and this. You said, we did this, we accomplished X, this is what we got to do more of.
Yeah, I mean, they're trying to do what we're asking them to do, but habits take time. And, I think it's like you said, it's great to be able to positively reinforce rather than show, corrections always. And there was a lot of that on the tape the other night. A lot still we need to get better. But some of our low-man collisions were better. Some of our box-outs were better, even though the rebounding numbers weren't good. And some of our containment, one-on-one containment possessions were better. But still a long way to go.
All right, guys, so our friend John Ireland then asked Frank Vogel about what types of candy one might expect if they were to trick-or-treat at his house. And Frank, first of all, said, okay, you go and just buy the big bags now. But then he named about 17 different types of candy, which reveals a sweet tooth for the head coach that I share. And by the way, Jet and Talon, save Daddy some candy, okay? Don't be eating all that. I need to have some of that when I get home.
You hear that, boys? Save some candy for Dad. Love it. Well done, Mike Trudell. Thanks so much. The Lakers and Rockets play their first of two straight at Staples. He's been a big part of the Lakers' bench production so far. His close to 16 points a game off the bench is 6th best in the league. And after the win against the Cavs, head coach Frank Vogel spoke on the evolution of Melo.
He's one of the best in the league, in that, way he's transitioned his role, his game. He's a professional scorer throughout his career. And he's, to his credit, has really made a transition to be an elite catch-and-shoot guy, that has good size, that can shoot with a hand in his face. And 6 for 8 from the three, a lot of huge buckets, big part of the win.
When Melo gets going, man, it just opens up the floor for our team. And you get hot quick, as you guys can see.
Just an energy thing. I mean, when he gets going, he hit 2 in a row. We know he's hot. We try to find him. And when he shoot it, it's such a quick release, and we know it's going in. You know, especially when he just shoot it and arms come straight down. He don't hold his follow through. You know, we know it's going in. But it's a momentum booster for us.
He is a sniper. We call in our league guys that don't need much airspace to get it off because there's quick trigger, and you know it creates so much space for myself, Russ, and AD to work our pick and roll magic. When you have guys like Melo and guys that can space the floor and keep guys honest on the perimeter.
Just finding my position on the court, finding my spot, playing off of those guys, reading them. I think LeBron does a great job of reading the court, seeing where everybody's at, knowing what guys is at on the floor. And today he did a great job of finding me.
So as we just talked about, Carmelo Anthony, guys, averaging almost 16 a game off the bench. A season ago, 40% from deep. I know it's early, but already shooting 50% from long range. Rob, I'll start with you. How tough is it? You think of the journey this late in his career. We've talked about it. A couple of years ago, he wasn't even in the league, to now having to reinvent, the word you used with me before the show, his position and his role. How challenging is that as he's been able to do so?
It's so challenging because you have to think about his success in the league. He was so successful at doing what he does. He has the ball in his hand, he goes to the block, he goes up, he takes shots. And one of the things that was so great about Carmelo